All right. Welcome, everyone, to Vegan Collective Intelligence meeting number 28. I think this is number 28 now. It's been quite a few meetings. We don't have a formal agenda put together, but there are a few things that I think have been recurring topics we've been speaking about, as well as some things that may be left over from last week's meeting. Unfortunately, Suzanne and I weren't able to attend last week, but we did catch up on the recording. So if there's anything anyone wants to talk about that's left over from that meeting, feel free to raise your hand and we can start talking about that. Otherwise, I just have some kind of bullet points of previous topics that may be still open for discussion. And that kind of includes, so last week there was talk about Discourse, or the Citizens for a Healthy Earth platform, and meeting with them regarding potential future home for Basecamp, for Basecamp members in the Vegan World 2026 project. And we ended up we watched that video. That was awesome, and we'd love to talk about that if other people were interested in that. Then we've got the Beyond Animal platform. I just wanted to update and say that the YouTube recording, I'll post that. Ray, thank you for uploading that. I'll post that as a message board item in the Collective Intelligence section of Basecamp. And then I'd love to talk about potentially sharing sharing the role of facilitator. If anyone else was also interested in co-sharing this role, I'd love to talk to you so we can sort that out. I'm not the best or most social person, so I'm trying my best here. Thanks for sticking with me so far. Other than that, we have the kind of ongoing discussion about onboarding, and I think there was some movement there, or perhaps postponement of that discussion is in order. I don't know, and so wherever we want to start, that is okay with me. Suzanne, do you have a preference? Does anyone have a preference on where to start?
I can add. We can look at the previous week agenda. I think already we had a thing, probably some of the items we can see. Yeah.
Well, actually, I have an idea. You mean in terms of which topic to start with? Okay. Well, one is one option, and just whenever you want to do it, but is collective intelligence itself, because we just had a major breakthrough. Jackie, Melvin, Emery, James, Stephanie, so over in England, who's not here at the moment. It's probably 2 in the morning in England, so I don't blame her. But anyway, we just had some major breakthroughs, so I just wanted to offer that as a topic, because the collective intelligence evolution that's happening generally across all of our meetings is utterly profound, and I think it can definitely be of huge benefit to Vegan World 2026 collective intelligence. So I just wanted to offer that, since we're all here on the tail end of that great meeting.
Yeah, I think we can definitely find some time to talk about that. I think we should at least start with where we're at with the onboarding process.
Oh, I thought that's what we were postponing.
That's what we're postponing? Or have we decided to postpone that? Or is there something to discuss there? Jackie, Jessica, Ray.
I've done a bit of envisioning what the onboarding process looks like using a chart. Can I share my screen for a little bit? Actually, test first. Is my voice coming through? Am I starting to skip?
Your voice is clear. Your voice is clear, and you're good to screen share.
All right. Although this may slow everything down. The software that you'll see shortly is OmniGraffle for the Mac. It's for designing flowcharts and various other things. There's different palettes for different industries. Let me know when you see it.
Yeah, we can see it, Ray. It's pretty tiny text, so you probably want to zoom in, but we can see it.
Okay, at the top of the screen, there's a start, a long rounded rectangle, and a green one that says start on the left side, and a red one that says end on the right-hand side. So the flowchart kind of goes down, across, and up. And I've color-coded things to group them together so it's not quite as daunting. The whole bottom half of the screen is one Google form. It's just kind of going into the details of what is in the Google form. So at the top, our onboarding process starts with however people find us. And that could be they go to the Climate Healers website or the Vegan World 2026 website. On Facebook, we can do more ads that are pinned to the top that are constantly inviting people. We can tag people on Facebook and all sorts of methods, sharing a link in Facebook and other forms of social media that I've represented as a Pac-Man. They're pointed at this next item is called, it's a shareable link. It's the same link that we've been using, bit.ly/join Basecamp. And that gets you the current Google form survey, which is actually quite long to fill out. And we've decided to shift a lot of that to the back end and make it a very simple onboarding process to get people into Basecamp. The other way that this will be implemented, this flowchart also takes into account an onboarding process for people who already are members of Basecamp and haven't ever got comfortable with the software. I think that we run everybody through this program because that way we know we're on the same page, not just with the mechanics of how the software and the software as a service and the email notifications and so forth, how that works, but also our protocols, our stated code of conduct and so forth, including conduct in Basecamp and also on Zoom videos. So the form, after it's filled out, there is a plugin for Basecamp that might be able to automate this process. I've tried it and it worked, and then all of a sudden it didn't work. But Zapier is a plugin that allows you to recognize when a document has had any changes added to it, and it allows you to therefore do certain functions. So in this case, we could have it notify somebody that somebody has filled out the form. Right now, I just look at the form every day or two and see, oh, there's new people that have signed up, and then make new accounts for them. Everybody can still hear me, right? I'm not just talking to a void.
You know, does anyone else hear Ray? I haven't heard anything for like 10 minutes. I'm just kidding, Ray. No, we can hear you just fine.
I just look at this beach ball on my Mac, and it's giving me grief. It's giving me anxiety. So Zapier may be able to automate that process. If not, it's not a big deal if people just make it a manual process. So we create a project in Basecamp called Basecamp Orientation Team. Now it's a team rather than a project. Some people that are familiar with Basecamp recognize that there's the HQ, the one that everybody belongs to, teams, which are a little bit more specialized, and the projects are all the study groups and task forces. Teams are kind of a little bit more oriented towards your skill set and interests that you could bring to all the different projects. So it's a little bit of a different kind of approach to topics and to planning strategies of how to make us better storytellers, better whatever the particular team is. In this case, it's a team that will help people onboard and understand the tools that we're working with. Make that process of new members joining a little bit smoother, because that's a very disruptive thing when somebody comes, I've just arrived and I want to know everything about Basecamp, stop what you're doing and explain everything to me. Some people are very aggressive that way. They want to know exactly what's going on. So if there's a space where they can have all their questions answered and all the people who like to answer those questions are part of it, that will facilitate that process. So they're added to this one Basecamp team before they're added to any of the other groups. We need to advertise those groups. We need to let them know what's sort of groups they may want to join once they get here. But that process of signing up, I think, is in part of the second step. After they've joined this Basecamp group, we can send a welcome email, and the red, kind of pinkish red, are automated processes. The yellow ones are human processes, and the other ones are all some sort of a form or a document. So a newcomer will be emailed a welcome email. We'll have to design it and decide exactly what we want to say, but it will have a link to the Google form called the orientation program. So from there on, it's everything in the teal, the bottom half of the page. And it's a series of questions, and I would like to see it be playing videos. They might be just simple videos of somebody speaking and the words on screen, or we might be able to dress them up and do a bit of branding, make them friendly and a little more fun. And you go through each video, and to prove that people have watched the video, we have 2 or 3 questions that they answer before they go on to the next one. So the first one is, welcome to Basecamp video. Second one is, welcome to Vegan World 2026 video. Welcome to Sociocracy video. How study groups and task forces work video. Description of Vegan World 2026 projects video. Description of Vegan World 2026 teams video. And Zoom meeting protocol and conventions video. So if they manage to pass all of those questions accurately, then they're given a checklist of all the groups that they want to sign up for, and the form is submitted. So now we're starting to go up the right-hand side of the screen. My Mac is trying to shut down OmniGraffle. So it says form completion and submission, and then it gets added to a Google Sheet. And then Zapier recognizes that something has been added to this Google Sheet, and it notifies a Basecamp administrator and says, hey, we got somebody that's finished their orientation. And one of the questions is, now that you're finished your orientation, do you want to stay in this group, or do you want to be removed from it? Because after people are added to that group, and pretty much everybody will be added to that group, and they kind of have to graduate through this training process. And questions can be asked. Obviously, the people that want to ask questions, this is the place to do it. So then they decide whether they want to help other people with the process, or they would rather just jump into whatever projects that they've signed up for. So that decision is made, and people are either added to the base or kept in the group or removed, and they're added to all the groups that they have signed up for manually by an administrator, and away we go. That's the end of the flow chart. It's very modular. We can add different things along the way. I just kind of imagined which videos would be appropriate to get through all the bases of Basecamp training. So I'm sure people have ideas on what the content of those videos should be, and we'll find ways to get together and figure out exactly what we should say. I can leave it up. Or I could stop sharing. Does anybody have any specific questions?
I got one specific question, Ray. Is anywhere on there, do you have the invitation to come to the block party, to the kind of open house, Vegan Collective Intelligence, Vegan World 2026 Collective Intelligence open house on the block party?
Yeah, that would be good to introduce as part of our culture. Maybe in the first video?
Well, I would, here's what I would suggest is beyond a video, actually make it part of the process, right? Where you basically say, hey, welcome, thank you for your interest, et cetera, et cetera. Listen, we meet every Friday, evening, early evening, late afternoon, have a happy hour on the block party, and vegan happy hour. And that's just a great way to kind of get to know us and just learn about us just by, chatting with us and, hanging out for a little bit. For me, it seems like a really great kind of first step for someone who's checking us out, right? Because otherwise I think it could be a bit daunting and also a bit lonely. Because it's like, okay, did I do everything right? Did I, what's next? I don't really, what is that? What is that? And you don't necessarily want to read through a whole bunch of stuff. But, if you can just go hang out. Look, everyone's super comfortable with Zoom these days because you have to be in order to, to be social, and we're a social species. And so it just seems like a natural first step for someone who's checking us out, right? That they can just hang with us and get to know us and say, oh, got it. Oh, wow. Okay, cool. And what's this Basecamp thing? Do I have to be like a computer scientist to be on that? Oh, no. It's real easy. You just sign up, we'll help you, etc. Anyway, I'm complete.
I could see that fitting into the both the beginning and at the end. Welcome to Basecamp video. And we describe Vegan World 2026 as being contained in Basecamp, but we also meet in Zoom meetings. And that includes radish.org, which is not in Basecamp, but a lot of the people that have accounts here are meeting in these two main events that happen during the week. And then at the end, there's descriptions of the different teams, so we could talk about what all the different groups that are in Basecamp and a few that are not in Basecamp.
Yeah, I really like this graphic, Ray. Sarah, you had your hand up. Did you want to share something?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. I agree with Jamin on that because I think a lot of people don't come to the block party because most people don't know about it. And it's almost for me, it's kind of difficult to explain to people. I think that it'd be great to have some type of a, preface to what's going, kind of an explanation. Kind of like, oh, welcome to Basecamp, and you want to go in this group, because you can see it from Basecamp, all the different groups. But I think it is overwhelming when you look at it. So I think that you could say that the Collective Intelligence block party, and then you can even say the time slots, like from 9 to 11 there will be a speaker, from 11 to 1 will be another speaker, and you say kind of gives an overview. And I think that if once people get on the block party, then they'll want to, because that's where really most of us are, right? We're all together and we're trying to talk about what I was trying to say was, instead of calling it Operation Stone Soup, calling it Food Healers. because it is Food Healers. We have the website and everything. I believe we secured it. So I think maybe, and we'll have to talk about this with Jamin, but yeah, we should talk to them about all the different, stuff, climate healers, food healers, everything. So yeah, I mean, the chart is just, I'm so impressed. The chart is incredible. It reminds me of kind of like a really high intelligent children's game, like the board game where you start on the thing and then you move your piece around, kind of like a really high-end Parcheesi. So you kind of just move your piece around to the different areas. I mean, I know it's more complicated than that, but just dumb it down for some people that can't understand flow charts. But yeah, I love it. I love this chart. I specifically came on this meeting today so I could see this.
Thank you very much. That we don't have, and nobody goes to jail.
Super impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful chart, Ray. I jumped right into my question, but I meant to say, what a beautiful chart. Wow.
Thanks, and it's adaptable too, so it's not. I don't want it to seem like I've made something and don't touch it. It's designed to be broken and added to and restructured as it moves pieces around. They tend to all stay stuck together. For when things need to get reconfigured, because everything always gets reconfigured. And about the 24-hour block party, we also will hopefully have precedent soon where we have our different groups spill over onto the block party on the weekend. That should be a place where a lot of the things that we discover can be shared there, and try to engage with people who have signed up for particular groups but never participate because they're on a different continent or just can't make any of the times where the meetings are being held. Having a 24-hour forum, and if people are following along with we have meetings and they watch the videos later and they make comments during the week between meetings, eventually they get together on the weekend at a totally different time. If enough people are interested, I've been encouraging them to speak up. Let's try to have meetings at different times to accommodate the UK or Australia or whatever. So far that hasn't happened, but I don't want people to just be too shy because they're few in numbers. We got to try to find ways of getting them involved. And that's one way to do it. It's also a way to get people who are a little bit intimidated by the vegan world name that, I'm not vegan, so I'm not sure if I'd be welcome there. It's always worked out really well in the Solutions Club on a Tuesday right before our VCI meeting to have people who are engaged in that. And then we naturally start talking about what's coming up later today. And they hopefully have enough confidence to join and see what's going on in Vegan World 2026. So it's kind of like a vegan-friendly, yet not specifically vegan venue on the doorstep. It makes for an inviting platform to engage.
We have a few people in the queue. Shankar, you've had your hand up for a while, and then I didn't see who came first between Jackie in the chat box and James. You have your hand up.
Does anybody want to reference the graphic specifically? Because I can stop sharing if we want to move on to other topics.
Shankar might. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I can quickly, it's just a quick comment. Like, I like especially the color coding of the face. I like it, Ray, and it actually distinguishes and differentiates each of the items. Is there any time flow, or is it self-paced, or how does it? Is it like, are we looking at like hours, days, or is it like a monthly package or something?
Well, as soon as they fill in that form, that first form, and they onboard onto Basecamp, just that one project, then it's kind of up to them. They can start asking questions right away in Basecamp. And those Basecamp helpers, we'll see how many people are, like hanging out in there and answering questions. A lot of their questions might get answered immediately. There's all the videos that are part of the quiz, which they'll receive in their email, but people don't always respond to everything in their email, and they don't always get through a long quiz, especially if we should level with them and say this will probably take about 15 minutes to answer, or to watch all the videos is going to take a significant amount of time. We'll try to keep it as tight as we can. Even if we have to edit down some parts of videos into other parts of videos, it'd be nice to make this a streamlined process. But all those videos are there in the Basecamp orientation team project. And we can add as many as we want in there. And I would like to see groups that feel like their attendance is poor to try to promote it, try to recruit, say, hey, this is what we're doing in our group. We're having a lot of fun over here. Make sure you click on New Economy or whatever it happens to be. So that's an opportunity. You've got a kind of a little fishbowl in that project of people trying to decide what they want to do. And we should make all the resources available to them to understand what's going on. That reminds me of another dilemma that we have is people joining Basecamp now quite often they assume that every project is churning full steam ahead, and they want to catch up to where they are. And it's my job to tell them, the Compassionate Commerce hasn't had their first meeting yet, so this is your opportunity to try to engage, and the good news is you don't have to catch up. You can be the voice that gets it started. So having some sort of a system in that project to let people know which projects are active, which ones are looking for leadership, because we have that in our survey right now. Do you want to join this group, and do you want to be a leader? Quite often people aren't really paying attention. They're just they forgot that it said leader, or they didn't notice, and they check whatever. And some groups have leaders, so it doesn't help to have somebody say that they want to be a leader as well. I mean, it might come into play. We have all that information in a spreadsheet. So if we discover that we may want to have a spin-off group in the UK, we might be able to find a second group to start discussions and find ways to connect those circles. So that newcomer group, which will also be down the left-hand side, I have existing Basecamp members on the top left-hand side. That includes everybody that's been part of Basecamp since it started. There's like 180 people who have never ever joined a group besides they might be in the Illuminators Climate Healer group, and everybody's in the HQ group, but they've never ever since they were created in November joined any of these other groups. And some of them have just filtered us out on their on the email so they don't get any notifications. So hopefully in this process, they if they were intimidated by Basecamp before, we can try to invite them in and say that there's now a orientation process that they can check out and engage, or just watch the videos. They might have specific questions about sociocracy, so hopefully we'll have it ironed out exactly what we mean by sociocracy, because it seems to be a bit of more of a palette than a set of specific instructions. And there's some parts of sociocracy that we haven't adopted yet. Or at least I haven't heard any discussion about delegates. Each circle is supposed to have a lead and a delegate. Part of the reason for that is to make sure that there's the information flows between groups and that there's not a silo forming, and when one part of the group doesn't know what the other part is doing. I think we might be okay for that because we have so many people that are in multiple groups that the information will probably flow naturally, and we have the this group, the VCI, as the parent circle that through which all the discoveries should be shared at some point as task force are created. So that critical question of what are we supposed to be doing with these study groups? We're going to make a video that's specifically focused on how do we engage as a study group? What does a study group do? And how do we create task forces? What does success look like? And they'll probably say a bit about writing white papers as part of that process as well. Were there other questions about the process?
I just have a quick question. Go ahead, whoever's raising their hand. I'll raise my hand and wait.
His hand raised there.
I'll just say, like, because my question is, well, I'm just making a point really based on the chart and going back on what Sarah and Jamin said, and yourself as well, they know about, like, there's a lot there involved for the enrollment kind of, for anyone getting involved in that there. But as you said yourself, there's a lot to discuss in it as well. And that's probably one of the main reasons why, part of that should be done on the collective intelligence block party as well, because, I mean, originally that's what I thought of. All these groups that have the same aims, really, ultimate same goals, like eventually, like getting together collectively in different rooms, as Jamin was saying, having their different conversations. But you have a lot to discuss there. So, as you were saying there yourself, maybe having a few meetings on the collective, a lot of times on the collective intelligence block party, that would be a good idea for you to get a lot of these things sorted out, but also to draw more people to the conversation in the block party, and again covering the non-vegans like myself now and my daughter, who is now vegan actually, but that's due to the conversations going on in the collective intelligence block party as well, because it's such a non-confrontational way to come into the information about vegans and about animal farming and everything else like that. So I think it's very important that all these conversations should be taking place on the block party as well, like at a lot of times, and the the collective intelligence, the block party should be advertised on this as well, obviously, then, like, as well, because you have a large community.
Yeah, one of the topics I've been kind of agonizing over lately is recruiting for base camp, and I think that would be a two-way street too. That a lot of base camp people need to know about what's going on in Radish, and engaging and bringing people that they know from the world to engage in conversation there, because people are a little bit hesitant to go into vegan spaces, but knowing that it's a specifically a non-vegan space, it's vegan friendly, but not specifically vegan. There's lots of people that want to talk about the the end of the world and how to stop it. So there's plenty of latitude there to be recruiting both ways, and encouraging everybody to try to think of who are the people that we want to see in this group, in this project, in this team. What this group needs is somebody who's got a specific angle on economics. Why is this person, this economist who has all these great ideas, why are they not, if not engaging weekly in this study group? Why can't let's try to get them to do a presentation, and people are more likely to do a presentation if they've got an audience. So we could do a presentation for a group, and we have like 3 or 5 people showing up for meetings every week. But if we take that over to, we become organizers for a talk and have it at the block party, and then we have, you know, dozens of people show up for it. That's obviously a much better model to get people who might be able to engage, talk about what they've got to talk about, and get to know Vegan World 2026 and radish.org at the same time. And hopefully people like us and they stick around.
We'll see. We'll see about the last part there, Ray. So it looks like Jackie and Jessica want to present an idea, but if there's anything else left here, anyone has a comment. Sarah, so you have your hand raised. Did you want to make a comment about this?
Can I
graphic?
say something really quickly too? For incorporating radish in the block party in the graphic, I wonder, I'm trying to think of a way, I'm wondering if other people can think of a way to visualize, like, maybe instead of suggesting that that's the first thing people need to do, that instead it can happen like at any time in this process. You can hop over to Radish and hop back here, like depending on what you're most comfortable with. You can do the video training first and hop over to Radish on week 2 or week 3, like, or you start on Radish and, do you know what I mean? Like make it flexible looking somehow.
Yeah, I've been thinking about how that bottom half of the screen, that's an awful lot of information for somebody to do at a sitting. So that Basecamp project, there could be some people that stay there for a while and kind of absorb the videos at their own pace. And then when they want to take the test, then they've seen all the videos and it's a quick process. And they have less questions. They might get as far as sociocracy and have questions and then go back to the Basecamp to ask them before they finish the rest of this process. We'll have to do a few trial runs. But maybe that process shouldn't just be in Basecamp. There should be some place outside, maybe Facebook or where it's not just about Basecamp. It can be about Radish. It can be about, you know, the different initiatives outside of the framework of this software as service and how it works and how to turn off your email notifications.
Sarah, did you have something?
Yeah, just following up on what James said and what Jamin said, and also I believe personally, let's say that I was new and I was coming into this and maybe I had not participated in either one of the conferences, which to me, that's why I think most of us have a big advantage, is because we went to the conference. I mean, you know, especially when you go 2 years, you know, it's really experience, and then you can feel more confident. So what I'm thinking is, what if while people are getting certified as climate healers, and then Jessica may want to comment on this, so because we have a certification coming up this Saturday, and even though I'm certified, I'm going to go on to that call just so I can kind of support. And I feel like it's almost like the buddy system where, like, if they're becoming certified to be a climate healer and they want to join some of these groups, I think we should definitely invite them onto the Collective Intelligence Block Party, because then they can kind of open up if they want, or just kind of chill back and then see like what it's all about. And I don't know if you guys are following me on that thought of, you know, that thought, but I'm just thinking of just kind of welcoming them, because we are kind of like a family. And I feel like if we kind of buddy up with them and help them, that, because I feel like I could be doing a much better job of like inviting my friends to the block party And some of them have come on. Even my friend Adam held a block party. But then I said, no, why don't you just come on our block party? It's already, you know, going on. And so then he brought his block party to the Collective Intelligence. But, you know, he's also 100% vegan, so he feels like he only wants to talk to vegans for some reason on Zoom. But my point is that we should not overwhelm them too much, but we should also make sure that they know, like, hey, this is like especially from that 9 a.m. on Friday, Divine Feminine, I feel like that's such a powerful way of letting them see like what's going on. And you have all the different speakers, and then that kind of give them, and I might recognize them from some of the films, of course, that they're in when they're watching the documentaries that are required by climate healers. So I don't know I know that's a really long answer, or question statement, but what do you guys think about maybe trying to maybe kind of make it like somewhat smaller? Because to me right now, even though I'm in some of the groups, I'm super overwhelmed with just the block party, the meditation. I go to Dharmendra's meditation Thursday nights. And of course I'm on like 5 or 6 Zooms before all that, you know, and I'm doing Jane Unchained full time for volunteer. But I mean, I could tell all these Jane Unchained people to come onto the block party if they knew that so-and-so was speaking, then we could say, hey, would you like to be a climate healer? Because they love that kind of stuff and get certified and stuff like that. So I just feel like we need more climate healers personally. And then when you're a climate healer, I think you're going to want to go on more of these things. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, one of the things you said there, Sarah, was about a buddy system. And one of the smallest words on here is right after they get their account created, it notifies a Basecamp helper, whoever that might be. I mean, it notifies that group that somebody has joined, so that people that are regulars know there's a new person. And I've got the word greet. That could mean anything. There's so much that's implied in that little word that it can't really be illustrated here. But we can, flesh that out to any number of things. And inviting them to the block party is definitely one. Having the resources there to understand what's available in Basecamp and what's available outside of Basecamp. Some people get intimidated by software and they prefer email, or they want to talk, so they'd rather get right into Zoom. So those are all options now. And some people might find that one project, the Basecamp orientation team, just a place to settle in for a while and not worry about studying.
Jackie, Jessica, would either of you like to share what you've been working on?
Then we have James, and then.
You need the graphic up, or should I take it down now?
No, we're fine. Thank you. Well, Jessica and I have been working for the past few weeks with Jason Glasson. That's the gentleman that gave us the feedback and the insight about onboarding. We've met with him several times. We have another meeting scheduled. And he has amazing insight, like really, really good insight and feedback. So we've really been working on it and meditating on it. And Jessica wants to show you what we've come up with. We're so excited.
Yes, so we have been working with him on it. We met with Lesh about this originally. We met with Ray about this too. And I think if we can just start with, we'll describe what we've come up with for the orientation. We also thought we'd call it that, orientation. And that when people enter the orientation, that they get added to that group. And there's a welcome committee of people who stay in there, who it's like their thing, and they're like, people who would be like, oh yeah, I want to help the new people, I want to talk to the new people, I'd love to answer the questions and all that. And welcoming people who want to be welcoming, and that's something they enjoy, would be there, and they can stay in there. But if they get tired of it after a while or have too many things to do, they can get off. Other people can come on. There can be as many people as want to be in the welcoming committee. And that one of Jason's ideas was, what if when people join, if they can make a video, a short video of themselves, like telling about themselves. And then he was talking about, like, during our meeting, we got right into it and talked for hours, Jackie and Jason and I, about all of the work, but we didn't talk about ourselves at all. And he said, I would love to kind of follow something that he listens to, where whenever they have someone on, they tell about why they became vegan and maybe when they became vegan in the first place. And so we kind of put those ideas together and thought, okay, and some people might not be comfortable or able to create a video about themselves when they join, but for those who want to, they can do a video, and for those who don't, they can do a text, and that their video or text about themselves when they join can include when and why they went vegan in the first place. And that the videos would be like 2 or 3 minutes. So keeping with Dr. Greger's known short videos are best. So like 2 or 3 minutes. And then we kind of flipped that too. And we realized we can do that in reverse, because then the new people are coming in. They may be getting to know each other, but that does, and there would be the welcoming committee, but that doesn't really help them get introduced to all of us who are already here. So we thought we could all do that too. And we could schedule like 5 different Zoom calls like this, so at all different times and different days, so that people all over the world can participate at their, most convenient time to do this. And we kept talking, Jackie and I one night kept talking about welcome, and we kept saying, I kept hearing Jackie say welcome, and I remembered this song from when I was little, that this group of people came and did this whole song and dance performance at my school, in elementary school, and they came multiple times, and I remembered the song, and then I heard the song again in high school when I went to listen to some other musical thing outside, and then I've sung it before to my kids, and they're like, what is that? And the song, it says, it's a welcome song from Africa, and it means like welcome and good health and peace, and it's the words are Funga, Alafia, Ashe, Ashe. And if any of you have heard the song, Funga, Alafia, Ashe, Ashe. And so what we can do is, so what the people would see is, when they join, is there would be a video for them to watch that maybe Ray could put together from the 5 different Zoom calls of all the people doing it, so that they see, let's say all of us, we can all say, so it would be all of us together, and then us individually, and then us together again. So all together we would be like, hi, and then individually we would each say hi in the way that we normally say hi. So that can be different for everyone. And if anyone speaks a different language than English, then they could maybe speak their way of saying hi in their language also. And even my name is in their language. And so I would say, hey, I'm Jessica. And then the next person would go, and there would be like a 2-minute pause, or not 2 minutes, 2-second pause between people. And this would all be scripted. We'd have the order based on who got on the call. We'd, type it all out in the chat box, what order everybody goes in, so everybody knows. And then, so that would be going to the individual again. And then to go back to the whole, then we have, they actually, when they do the song, sometimes they have scarves. They put a scarf in each hand, and we could briefly just sing a couple, that Funga, Lafia, Ashe, Ashe, a couple of times, and then say welcome. And so that would be a video that they would see, okay? And then they would do all of their orientation requirements, fill out the Google form when they finish it. And as far as how long do they have to do that, Jackie and I don't think we got to talk about that, but what I was thinking was that whenever people are added to it, then they have, they can have until the end of that month, and then the end of the following month. That way, everyone has had at least 1 full month. And so anyway, I won't get all into that, but, and then at the end of that time, then they can be reminded and sort of asked by the welcoming committee or one person or something like, are you still interested? We've noticed you haven't finished your requirements yet, or would you like to be removed? And if they're like, yeah, I'm still interested, then they can go to like a last chance orientation, or like a different one, so they're in a different place. And that's just so that it's easier to keep track of who, and that they're not just saying the same thing forever. And then, or if they're like, no, and then once they go to the other one, maybe they have 1 more month, and then no need to ask them again. If they're still there after a month and they haven't finished it, then we can just take them out and say, you can always come back again when you're ready if you like, but, and so anyway, and then their videos, everyone, the new people's intro videos. So what would happen with them is at the end of each month, so we're trying to make everything be in normal incremental times for people, like 7 days, 1 month, stuff like that. So at the end of every month, those videos would all go, the new people's intro videos would be released to all of Basecamp, and in a way that I can explain in a minute. And then, so Jackie and I have worked on a lot of these things, and then we're supposed to meet again Thursday night. And then, so I haven't told her things that I've thought of since yesterday. And then when we were thinking maybe it might be appropriate to share some of these things tonight, I drew up a couple things really quickly. It's not like fancy online illustrations like Ray had, but I'll show it. But if I'm able to share my screen, what I've done actually is yesterday I started my own Basecamp for illustrative purposes to show how it could be if we were doing it in this new way, and to try to kind of build the framework with sociocracy embedded into the framework in the Basecamp. And so I don't know if I'm able to, should I be able to share my screen now? Maybe, I don't know who's in charge of that.
It looks like you should be able to, yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's see. So I guess what I'll do is just go into, is that okay if I share the screen and just kind of show the Basecamp? Okay. Okay, so here, can you see it? Okay, yep. It might be kind of small, like when Ray had his up, I could see that it was there, and I had looked at it in Basecamp before the meeting, but I couldn't see what the text said. Can you all see what my text says, or not quite?
Oh yeah, your text is way bigger than Ray's, so it's very, very legible, Jessica.
Okay, all right, so this is, apparently you can go into Basecamp and for 30 days have a free thing. So that's what I've done here. And what I'm thinking, and Jackie and I were talking about vegan collective intelligence and what is the VCI. And then since we talked, so I'm not sure about how Jackie feels about this yet, but we kind of talked about this a little bit, but maybe we did talk about this. Anyway, so what I'll do now is, starting now, I'll just say, and then this and this, and I'll act like this is how we do it, so I don't have to keep saying we could do this, or I was thinking maybe this, or I told Jackie this. So I'm just going to act like this is how we do it. Okay. So in this Basecamp, Vegan World 2026 is the vegan collective intelligence. It is the VCI, because wouldn't all of us be included in that vegan collective intelligence and be what that is supposed to be, embody that? So that's everybody. So instead of this just saying Vegan World 2026, it's Vegan World 2026, Vegan Collective Intelligence, or VCI. So that's everyone. I think that there really only need to be 2 teams, a steering committee and a group chair team. And then that everything else that's currently in our Basecamp, it could be all put into the projects area and just called groups. So climate change groups, parenting and education groups, CLC group, normalizing being food group, and so on for the groups. This thing here that says sample and the steering committee is on their sample page, and I changed it. But this sample, I didn't do that. And let me see where I put. Okay. And this is just what I drew up this afternoon when I knew that we might, and my computer is quite slow when I'm sharing, sorry. And I added Jackie to this during this meeting in case mine is too slow and it's aggravating. We can switch and I can just ask her to go certain places on here. Okay, I'm not doing that. Someone's interfering with Zoom. There are blue lines on the screen. Does anybody see those blue lines? That's not me.
Yeah, we see the blue lines. That must be a bug or something. Why don't you stop screen sharing and then let's see what's going on here. Okay. All right. Shankar, are you drawing blue lines again? Just kidding. I have I've never seen that before.
Is it a touch screen?
I read something about people drawing some things during Zoom calls, so as soon as I saw that, I was like, hey, somebody. I wasn't sure what was going to appear, but it wasn't me.
Guys, that was actually me. Oh my God. I'm on my other device and I'm trying to watch. And my phone, because I remember my phone got stolen, so I've got this stupid loaner phone. So it like flipped over, and all of a sudden I was like, what are these blue lines on here? Why am I drawing on this Jessica's thing when she's talking? Because I was actually, like when you're trying to make the screen bigger with your fingers on a touch screen, that's what I was doing, and that's why the lines appeared. Anyway, that's why. So I was trying to make her picture bigger so I could see what she wrote. Yeah.
I'm tweeting now. Zoom bomber identified. It's Sarah Siegel of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, I already disrupted Joe Biden, so I might as well disrupt Zoom, right?
We need vegan Zoom bombers.
Okay, then I'll share it again now that we know what's going on there. Okay, can you see it again? Okay.
Yeah, we can see it just fine, Jessica.
Okay. What I put on there didn't. It's not showing it. Let me see if I click on. Oh, okay, there it is. Now that's probably tiny for you. Let me see if I can make that bigger. I can't make that bigger, but here's the. Well, okay, I'll show this one, and I'll just try and explain it.
You just did make it bigger for like a second.
Oh, that was a different one. This is a different one. Is that what you're talking about? Or the top one got bigger?
It seemed like you made the top one bigger for a second, but maybe that was my optical illusion. Anyway, sorry.
Oh, okay, sure. So the top one here is just showing in the most general way that I could think of just on the moment. I wasn't prepared to share any of this tonight, but that the whole thing here is Vegan World 2026 DCI. And then as far as circles, with sociocracy being embedded into the framework at the bottom here, and this puts the power in everyone's hand, every single individual and in every group. So each group here, so there would be the 26 or whatever groups that we have in base camp now, would all be like this one here. But to make it more simple, the more detailed one is below, but to make it the most simple, so each group is here. And then sociocracy says that 2 people from each group also belong, they call it double linking, to the circle above them. So above each group, the circle above each group would be the chair team. So I'm calling the 2 people from each group chairs, okay? So I'm taking this from when I taught art in elementary school. We had the kindergarten through 5th grade, so 6th grade levels. And so each group of those teachers made up a team, and then the special area teachers, we taught all 6th grade levels. And so special area teachers were art, music, PE, computer, and the media center. And so we were a team also. So we had the 6 teams plus ours made the 7th team, and each team there was a grade chair or a team chair appointed by the principal, and I was the chair for the special area team. So anyway, we would have two chairs, and they would belong to this next circle up called the chair team, and that would be a team. So these are the 2 teams, and all of these on base camp would be under projects, but we're calling them groups. Okay, so the chair team has 2 people from each group in it. Pardon? Somebody say something?
Oh, Ray is unmuted. Okay, he's muted. You're good, Jessica.
Okay, and then the top circle here is the steering committee that would be made up of, and this is sociocracy, it is a hierarchy, and there are appointed positions, elect people who are elected in a certain way, which I can talk about. So the steering committee would be sort of here. It would be a team. So again, these 2 are teams, and this would be about maybe 10 to 15 elected folks, with 2 of those at least people coming from the chair team. So here's the double linking as sociocracy requires. And then more specifically and a little more detailed is, it looks this way. This is the same thing, but just drawn a different way. So this whole thing is Vegan World 2026 DCI that everyone in our base camp would be in. This here is, if we start at the what was at the bottom of the first illustration there. Each one of these circles is a group in Basecamp. So parenting and education, illuminators, climbing healers groups, normalizing vegan food, CLCs, Pinky Promise, Pinky Promise, Pinky from the PPP, and all the other groups, including the orientation group, would be there. And these two little circles that connect all the group ones to the chair group would be the chairs. Okay, and then two at least from the chair group would be connected, would be in also the steering committee. And so I know there was also a talk at some point about how to get everybody in our whole base camp knowing what everybody is doing. And so I thought of a way to do that is that every month each group will come up with what they call their monthly plans, and they will turn them in. They'll be turned in by their group chair to the steering committee. The steering committee will make sure that everybody's group plans are not in conflict with any of the 7 core shifts, and that everyone's group plans for the month or monthly plans, that they are in alignment with and promoting at least one of the 7 core shifts. I'm also taking that from teaching, because what we did was for every lesson plan, and at the end of every week we turned in lesson plans to the following week, and you never hear anything back unless there was a problem. I imagine, but I didn't have a problem, so I don't know. But you turn them in and then they have them. And then and your lesson plans for each, what I wanted to teach art to kindergarten through 5th grade, each lesson, I don't have to teach, you know, all of the standard course of study objectives, that are many of them for my state with each lesson, because all my different lessons would teach different objectives. And so we would have the steering committee would just check, and I have a form, Google form that can be filled out for that, but that I'm working on. But anyway, so they would just make sure that, yeah, this makes sense, that what everybody has, what the grade chairs have turned in for their group for what they'll be working on for the month, is promoting at least one of the 7 core shifts, and not in conflict with any of the 7 core shifts. And then they would have all of those, and they would be turned in. I have to sorry, my computer is so slow when I'm sharing. Working on it. All right. I'll get back to that in just a minute, so that I'll start at the top of this document. So steering committee, this team is comprised of 10 to 15 elected members of the Guerrero 2026 BCI, including at least 2 people from the chair team. Steering committee oversees our entire base camp and also makes decisions when agreements can't be made in the chair team. The steering committee is the highest circle in our base camp using sociocracy. Steering committee, okay, for that. Table of contents, elections, the steering committee responsibilities and positions. Again, I just started this yesterday, so last night, so this is not finished, but here's what I have so far. So elections would be held via Doodle, and I have created a sample Doodle election poll here. Oh, sorry. If it takes long, I'll take it off. Okay. So, sorry. I really am trying to scroll. It's just so slow. Okay. Steering committee elections. 7 days to vote. So I think that for all the voting, maybe we allow 7 days. And of course, all these little details can change, but with sociocracy being built into it, there's room for changing things, with some things staying, you know, a certain way in order to be following it. But anyway, so 7 days to vote by 6/2. And so this election would be for Stacy Viganica to the steering committee. And it would be someone would The 3 ways to vote would be consent, or consent with concern, or object. That's following sociocracy. And then if anyone has consent with concern, or they want to object, and we know if we don't know, consent with concern means in sociocracy that, okay, consent means you're fine with it, you can live with the decision. Consent with concern means you'd be okay with it, but you do have 1 or more concerns, but if they're not addressed to your satisfaction, you're still okay and you can live with the decision. An object means you have an objection and you're not okay with the decision. It's going to interfere with your work, with the aim of the organization. Okay, so if anyone has consent with concern or objection, then they're required to fill out a comment stating what that is. So here I put, Stacy Viganica is not yet a certified climate healer, which is the prerequisite for being elected to the steering committee. Okay, so then they add that in. Okay, and so the healthy a doodle, and then I or someone could create a video tutorial on how to create a steering committee election poll on Doodle, like what I just showed. 4 requirements to be eligible to apply for a steering committee position, and this I haven't talked with Jackie about. I thought of this in my head since we talked last and just put it on here last night. But I put these things: must be a certified climate healer, must have completed the orientation, must have been in the base camp for at least 3 months, and a reference confirming positive contribution in some group. Okay, and then how does one nominate oneself or someone else? There would be an application for that, which I haven't created yet. And then each group leader or leaders are the admins for their group's Google forms for the steering committee position application. And when they would receive an application, they would first approve it by checking to ensure that the applicant had fulfilled all the requirements. And then they forward their group members' applications to the steering committee monthly at the end of the month in their group plans. Elections are held the first week of every month when there are applicants. Once the maximum number of steering committee positions have been filled, there will not be more steering committee positions filled unless the steering committee votes to increase the number of allowed positions in the regular voting way. Who is eligible? I for now put everyone, but maybe we don't want that. But anyway, that's up for now. How long does everyone have to vote? 7 days. Who creates the poll on Doodle? 2 people in the steering committee elected as steering committee position election team. Where would it be? Where would the link be posted? We posted in the message board. Who checks the voting tally? That same team of people, the same 2 people. Who announces the results? The same 2 people. I just explained what the voting choices mean there. And if anyone wanted to read more about that, there's a link for that. How do we deal with concerns or objections in the elections? The team does, and anyway, I talked about that there. And then some responsibilities of the steering committee. Checking of our monthly group plans. Okay, so that's where we were. So I think that's where we were. Oh, we were at the newsletter. Okay, so to ensure that they're not in conflict with any of the 7 core shifts and that they do promote at least one of the 7 core shifts. And if the plans are in conflict with any of the 7 core shifts, or they do not concretely promote at least one of the 7 core shifts, the steering committee will relay this information to the group leader or leaders and ask for correction. And what the monthly plan would be, I'm thinking would be basically what I put on the message board in the DCI recently that said focus, product, and date. And the product could be, and we would give examples of these things in places like what typical products could be, but they could be a white paper, they could be a handbook, they could be a manual in the IEEE standard type of style. They could also, what a product could be for someone's work for the month could be a list of something. Like, so everybody, if they're going to be working on something, they can't just, we wouldn't just be sitting like just talking, just social. So something would be created. So whether that is a list of what they're going to do the following month, or brainstorming to come up with what they're going to create next, or what type of manual they're going to create, and so on. So, but basically, it would tell what they're hoping to do and to focus, what they're focused on for that month, what they're going to create. That's the product, and when they think that they'll finish doing it. And then the steering committee would also be responsible for posting a monthly newsletter in a folder in the Docs and Files of Beacon Road 2026 DCI that will include the following. First, any important information or announcements that need to be known by everyone as the first page. And then the group plans for each group in Basecamp, which contain their plans for the month as subsequent docs in the folder. So this would all be in one folder for each month. So anybody could just go through and find the month. And the intro videos and intro text for anyone who is unable or uncomfortable creating an intro video of the new Basecamp members. So this would all be in one place. And each month, a new monthly newsletter folder will be produced and stored in the Docs and Files there. And they're also responsible for organizing the entire voting process for voting and steering committee team members as above. And also keeping track of active and inactive groups in Basecamp and encouraging inactive groups to become active. Any group that turns in an approved monthly plan is considered active for that month. And any group that does not turn in an approved monthly plan is considered inactive for that month. Addressing any issues that come up from group chairs that cannot be resolved by the group chair team. And organizing the entire voting process for voting on any ideas that would affect everyone in our Basecamp, which I believe should be done always by doodle, because not everyone's going to be able to attend meetings or, so on and so forth. And then it's all there in one place, then everybody has a chance. And then what are the positions and responsibilities of the steering committee? The steering committee position and election team, 2 positions for that. And the responsibilities include what we talked about earlier. And anyway, I'm not sure what else I have to show on here, and I'm sure I'm leaving a lot of things out that I've already talked about with Jackie, that we've already, come up with, and a lot of things that I have already thought of but haven't put in here yet since I just started this last night. Yeah, I think I'll probably put something in here. Oh, monthly plans. So, for example, I think I've already talked about this. Oh, okay. So for the monthly plans, okay, I've clicked on, I'm waiting. Okay. Every month by the 15th of the month, each group leader would post on their message board their monthly plans for the following month. They may leave it all blank and ask for input from their members, or they may list several ideas and ask for feedback, or they may list a complete set of monthly plans and ask for feedback. By the 25th of each month, each group's group chairs must turn in their monthly plans for the following month to the group chair team. And then the group chair team members that are also on the steering committee, there will be at least 2 according to the faculty, turns in all of the group's monthly plans to the steering committee for review, and so on. And that's probably all I have to share. And my husband told me one time that there's a thing that people who work where people show PowerPoints refer to something as death by PowerPoint. So that was probably long enough. And so that is some of what we thought of.
That's awesome.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
We've got Shankar and then Dr. Rao in the queue.
Sure, I'll make it quick. That was amazing. Thank you, Jessica. It was a good flow, and I was able to relate myself. I saw myself in a lot of sections, and thank you. That was amazing. I just want to add a comment on the idea of this actually goes back to the Ray and on topic with all this. What I really like is the idea of like people's immersion, or a volunteer or anybody's immersion is kind of it varies per the project, or varies by the time, or varies per what's going on with their work or personal life. So it kind of changes. So one thing I want to thank Jamin is there is a structure here in Basecamp, or the structure that we keep. Another one is definitely we need kind of like a very open thinking. Everybody is contributing, either thoughts, action, or collaboration, or feedback. It's all going together. When you are not fully occupied with any structured plan, probably the Jamin's idea is very good, because that is prepping up for your thinking. Now you have ideas. You need Basecamp, you have to come back and launch and execute and do. So it kind of gives you the best of both the worlds and the personalities, or it depends on what goes on in your life. So that's what I want. Thank you. So the point I want to say was it's a parallel. Like I would like to keep if I see the flow chart, everything. So both the solutions and the Friday is like, I think somebody is like not going much in the group. So they're still active. While they're active, they're gathering ideas and they're coming back. Yeah, thank you.
Are you all waiting for me to speak? Okay. Thank you for that, Jessica. It's well thought out. One comment I have is, Ray has come up with this double hierarchy. There's more to it than just one circle in which we have to deal with all of the work of all the groups. For instance, the new economy is like a working group. And underneath that, there will be Aquarius and there will be other economic activities, study groups. So that could form like a subgroup in which this, what you're doing, happens there. So that it's only the new economy that has to come to this Vegan World Steering Committee. So it could be the same breakdown that I had in my presentations. It could be economy, spirituality, ecology, political, social, etc. Those could be the working groups, underneath which you have further questions being asked, and then there are study groups. Okay. Also, I think any polling has to have the facility for anonymous voting. Okay. I think doodle polling would do that because you can put any name you want over there when you get on it. But we need to tell people that that's the intent, because people should be able to vote without any coercion.
Quick follow-on comment to that one, Silas. The only downside to that is somebody could vote multiple times and just go through different cartoon characters. So I think the people who want to vote anonymously, hopefully there'll be a small enough minority that it won't come to that they decide the vote because of that. But anyway, you probably thought that through.
No, I was thinking that Doodle only allows one email to vote once. Okay, when you have, so you're logging in with a particular email, and I don't know if it allows it much.
But there are people who have multiple email accounts. I'm just saying, I'm just flagging it. That's all.
Right. Yeah, they could be joining Basecamp from multiple email accounts. Is that what you're saying?
No, they could be going to a given Doodle poll, because my understanding of Doodle poll is that it's separate from Basecamp, right? Anyone could go to that Doodle poll if they found the link, right? So let's say that I was malicious. Yes, I'm a member of Basecamp. I see it. I'm like, oh man, I really want this vote to go to a different way. And I post to all my relatives, hey, wherever you are, just come in, Mickey Mouse, Daffy Duck, whatever, but just go and make sure you vote no on this. I'm just saying. I'm just flagging it. I'm not trying to deviate the discussion or anything. I just wanted to flag it.
You've done this before, haven't you?
No, I was just thinking hypothetically, of course. Of course.
The reason why I didn't mention anything about anonymous voting, because I thought of that too, but from what I read about sociocracy, I think it's talking a lot about no secrets and everything is out in the open, and there are discussions about the people, and then if anybody has concerns, I think it's supposed to be that way. And I thought, wow, okay, that could be uncomfortable for people, and some people might not bring up their if they did have an objection or a concern, maybe they wouldn't bring it up because they wouldn't want to be like, I'm just, I don't know, maybe they'll be like, I don't want to, tell them in front of everyone, or I don't want everyone to know that I'm saying this. So we're saying anonymous. I'm not sure. Benjamin and Suzanne, you all are so with the Doodle, much more than I am. But do you know about this, like anonymous voting, if somebody could do what Jamin is saying, or is that a concern of yours, Silas, that someone could vote more than once, or you think don't worry about that, or what?
Yeah, if it becomes a contentious election, then we can have, stricter versions of this doodle. So, meaning people have to send in, maybe even a certificate, so you know exactly who it is if you did decryption, right? So we can do things like that, right, to make it. But the idea behind anonymous voting is that you can then vote your conscience. You're not being coerced by external circumstances, right? And in fact, the claim is that the reason our Congress is so messed up is because they removed anonymous voting. Even though they allow, for elections, we know you have to have anonymous voting.
Okay.
But in Congress, they said it has to be open. They passed a law in the 70s. And since then, Congress has been going downhill.
Sunshine laws.
The Sunshine Law, yeah.
What if we used the Google form? I don't know if there would still be, like, Jamin's concern could go that way or not, but like if we use the Google form, then we can turn it off so nobody can see anybody else's results and the entire steering committee could get everybody's results. But on a Google form, it could be, very similar, procedure. It's just that then it would definitely be anonymous. I don't know if it would be more anonymous and more secure than Doodle. Anybody have any thoughts?
Yeah, we have done that actually. How you do is you generate a random numbers and you email it to people. Then they have to put that number as an ID. At the end, you will give only out of the random count, like a series of count. Then you tally, so at least you know all the members or somebody voted. And you don't know, you won't have a duplication or anything like. Using same Google Forms. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I am very impressed with everything you've come up with and presented, both Jackie and Jessica and whoever else has contributed. I'd love to look into, is this available for us to look at yet, or is this still on a separate Basecamp?
It is. I have it free for 30 days. And like I was not going to add anybody until I had it all in there, but now we're just all in it. So I can add all of you in it in the same way that you get added to the Basecamp that we're currently in. You can see it. And then in 29 days, it goes away. So anything, if we wanted to take anything out of it, kind of silly of me to be creating it in there. I guess I'll need to take it out and put it somewhere else too if I want it. But I just started last night. Oh, we did it. But so I can put you all in there. I can put you in there. Yeah. And then you'll just be in there and I'll just add you to everything. Like you just saw, I added Jackie to everything on it. You can see her little circle, but.
Well, that sounds good.
Yeah, that's fine. Or if you'd like us to wait until it's written up, that's fine too. It looks like it's mostly there. Is there anything that we could help with at this point in terms of this group being helpful?
In terms of what? I couldn't hear what you said.
In terms of this group being helpful.
Oh, what do you think, Jackie?
I think just feedback, first reactions to especially the orientation, because we really discussed it and we really had some deep conversations with Jason about the feeling of community, about that feeling when people find Vegan World 2026 and that just elation that you feel like, oh my God, there's somebody that gets it, this is my family. And then they come in and then it was just like that crushing feeling of confusion and no direction and how do we get started? And so we were really trying to create an experience that when they walk in, it's almost like they're walking into the new world with excitement and welcoming. And so we really wanted feedback kind of on that, the orientation component, and then the transitioning to our vision of how the flow would go. We just want feedback so we can just continue to move forward because we really want to show that there's action going on. There's some of us that are getting together, we're talking, we're collaborating, we're meeting, but we really want to support action. Like we all feel like something imminent is coming, and we really want to motivate people into action by giving them a pathway that as soon as they enter, they see that, all right, you know, people are moving. This is already part of the framework.
Jessica?
Oh, I was just typing, well, Jessica, after feedback anyone wants to offer that Jackie asked for, so I'll leave it to everyone if anyone wants to give any feedback, and then I'll be ready for a turn.
Dr. Rao?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I was at a 1.5 hour meeting of the New York City Borough president, Gail, I think Gail something, I forget her last name. Anyway, she was conducting the meeting, and they were like, Mark Bittman was there, a lot of people were there, and they were talking about how to feed New York City, making sure that no one goes hungry in New York City. And I think Ray, can I mute you? So anyway, Ray, I think your mic is still on. I'm getting an echo.
Mute me if you can. I can't. I'm stuck. I have beach ball. I can't click on it.
We're having a hard time muting him.
Okay. So anyway, I wanted to tell you that half the time they were talking about how to get nutritious plant-based foods to everyone in New York City. That's what they were talking about. They all now seem to know that this is the way to deal with COVID-19. Okay? And so they're trying to figure out, who can grow more vegetables in New York City. How do you get good food to be free and available? So it's all being thought of right now. I mean, people are, they're focused. They want it to happen. And there were some people saying, but it's the people who have to ask for it. But people are asking for it now. More and more people are asking for it. So every public school now has a grab and go program I think it's from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. Where you can come, anyone can come and pick up a meal and go. No questions asked. You don't have to register, nothing. It's free. But so far, the schools don't have kitchens. So someone is cooking in a central place and they're sending the food to the schools where they're reheating it. And it's not yet completely vegan. Okay? That's one of the problems. So they have some schools where you can get kosher meals, some schools where you can get halal meals, and some schools, it's just basically reheating food that's coming in. But the good news is everyone is focused on trying to make that vegan, trying to make that more plant-based, because they know that almost, I think, 0.2% of New Yorkers have died so far from COVID-19. So which is huge, of the entire population, or 0.2% have died. So they are focused on that, and they know that there are a lot of seniors who cannot even go out. So they're trying to figure out how to pair seniors with buddies, so that the buddies can get the food to them. And so they're looking at the logistics of it all. So some of our work is already done, Jamin.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And exciting too. So in terms of moving forward with this, are there any other, I guess in terms of feedback, where should we expect to put that feedback? Or who should we talk to? Jackie or Jessica?
You're talking about feedback about what we just talked about?
Yeah.
Jackie? Oh, I think you unmuted now. Do you want to tell?
I was just going to say, we can offer feedback here. You can just ping us if you think of anything. We're meeting Thursday night again. So if you kind of like just want to digest it and give us feedback, yeah, before 8 p.m. Eastern, that's when we're meeting on Thursday night. So yeah, any feedback at all is welcome. We really want to make this holistic. We want to make it inviting and just easy for new members to come and navigate, because we discussed it, like there's 30-year vegans that are coming, and there's vegans that transitioned a week ago and are so passionate, and we really just want to make it as friendly and easy to manage for everyone. And I love Sarah's idea. Everyone wants to come in and feel like they're seen, like they have something legitimate. You know, I'm here, I feel welcome. So many of us felt alone before we found Vegan World 2026. So we really want them to feel loved and honored, and that they have something to contribute, and everything and everyone matters in this new world that we're creating. So that we want that feeling. So any feedback that would support that and help us, you know, create that is welcome.
Cool.
Awesome.
Was there anything else? I see Ray took off. So anything else anyone wanted to discuss today or put on the agenda for next week? Oh yeah, Jamin, go for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just wanted to mention, as I mentioned earlier, super briefly, that we had an incredibly powerful solution club today prior to VCI. And I just wanted to let everyone know that the evolution of, and Jackie, please help me out, because it's kind of beyond words, but the evolution of the circulation from the head and the logic space to the heart, the back and forth circulation, okay, which is crucial to the health of the individual, as y'all vegans know, I'm sure, way more than the average person. And we're now really experiencing it on a collective level, right? This head to heart circulation. And there is such a feeling of peace and safety and radical inclusivity. And we recorded a video that was led by Melvin as our host. And he interviewed everybody in the meeting, and it was just awesome. So I'm going to encourage everyone to watch that. I just got to edit that chunk, and then I'll send it out. Certainly by Thursday night, I'll get it out, because I need a little bit of a break. But we'll get there. Anyway, so I would encourage everyone to watch that. That might be 20 minutes long or something, and you certainly get a flavor. Fallon, how you doing, brother? Welcome. We got Fallon from Brooklyn. Anyway, here we are in the Vegan Collective Intelligence portion of the Solution Club, and you're absolutely welcome here. Everyone's welcome here. Welcome back, Ray. So I would encourage everyone just to watch it and really just feel into it. But the bottom line is that between the Block Party and the Solution Club, including VCI, we are creating the most amazing, for lack of a better word, I'm just going to use the word configuration. And what I really mean is it's a configuration of people and how we interact, and just how totally inclusive. And it's like we've totally purged any kind of like dominance games, or dare I say even ego. I mean, stuff that would just kind of like, that was just rampant in corporate America, that Silas, I presume you suffered from, just like every well-intentioned person suffers from in corporate America. But here it's just like, we've found this amazing just way to be together and to play together. And we're just super excited to share that with the world. Anyway, Jackie, I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add or anything like that, but
Yeah, I think today especially, I think we realize that we've become a family. We really, like today, we came together to create this video, and all of our contributions just reinforce what we've been feeling. There's been this synthesis of the feminine and the masculine going on in the block party. And every week we get closer. Every week we become less inhibited. Every week we become more authentic, more ourselves, and we shine our light more. And there's a resonance going on. And we've really become a family. And we feel like we're this international family. We've become the Rainbow Warriors that Sailesh has been telling us we have been. And we're ready to take action, but it's intentional and it's conscious and it's loving. And there's so much love in the community that we're just like overflowing, and we're ready to go out there and start spreading this love and this light that we've created. We've become this prism, and it's beautiful, and we're just bursting at the seams.
Beautiful. And Sarah, get your hand up.
Hey, I really like what you just said, Jackie. That was really awesome. So I wanted to find out, when are we going to be able to talk about the name of the food program that you now call Operation Stone Soup? But don't you think it sounds better, Food Healers?
Well, first of all, Operation Stone Soup stands for a whole lot more than just the food program. I think Food Healers is a great name for the food program specifically. But Operation Stone Soup, just like the story, it's yes, the food is like the heart of it, but it's really a story about community coming together. It's also a story about leadership and just starting. No matter that you don't have all the ingredients ready, just start, right? Anyway, so Operation Stone Soup is broader because it starts with food, and it co-evolves. The food co-evolves with the collective intelligence, which ultimately emerges and evolves into collective super intelligence. And we then train that benevolent laser beam of collective super intelligence on solar radiation management, cooling the planet, which is our other insanely hot urgency.
Solar
And
healers,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Solar,
yeah,
like you have
totally.
solar healers or whatever, but I thought maybe you could make it kind of consistent. So maybe Food Healers goes underneath the umbrella of Operation Stone Soup.
Yeah, that's how I've been thinking about it. Not so much under the umbrella from an organizational standpoint, but more from a logical, right, in my world. And I want to introduce everyone to Fallon, who is joining us from Brooklyn, New York. Welcome, Fallon. And Fallon, I know you've been on the block party, but have you been on this portion? I don't think you've been on the vegan collective intelligence portion yet. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, that's why I wanted to go ahead, Fallon.
No, actually never have, and this is my first time joining you guys. And yeah, I think Food Healers is a great name, and I love the idea of stone soup. It's amazing. It pulls inertia and it works. I also like what you were talking about in terms of collective intelligence, and reflecting on that a lot recently. I'm realizing that it's not magic, it's really just regular folks coming together, talking and learning intentfully. And when you can actually bring people to the same space and they're thinking about the same things, they don't necessarily have to wear like capes or carry pixie dust or do anything extraordinary. It's as simple as you put it, stone soup, that the intent comes in and people move. Yeah, so I would say with me, I'm approaching a lot of these collectives from a very serious mindset, and I'm arriving with a lot less skepticism that would be normal for me, and realizing that anything that is supposed to gain any level of inertia starts with push, and some of us push harder than others. So we show up and we contribute the larger portions of what makes the collective intelligence. And then the other ones synthesize and, of course, push it on to something else, something bigger. With that, I'm complete. Hello, people.
Beautiful. Thank you, Fallon. Man, you are right at home here, I can tell you. You've come to an extremely compassionate gathering, and you just fit right in. So welcome home. And Myra has her hand raised. I'm just taking the liberty to kind of direct traffic here since it seems like we're in a topic zone. Okay, go for it, Myra.
Hi everyone. I've been on meetings on and off today, and then it's been in Spanish, so I'm sorry if my English doesn't sound good, but I would like to know if there's any possibility that we could probably all together vote on a name for the, like, instead of Operational Stone Soup. I don't know why, but it's not that I don't like it. I mean, and neither less that I don't agree with it, but I feel like we should give it a more meaningful name, like Pachamama soup, something that has a meaning with the harvesting and healing of humanity and Mother Earth also. So I would like to know if there's any possibility we can vote on a name and then go from there.
You know, the time when we have really designated for this topic is on the block party from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific time, right after the 2-hour Divine Feminine slot. So I think, to be fair to everyone and to the process and to that community that regularly meets there, I would say that's the time. That would probably be the time to bring it up and vote on it. And in terms of that would also give us time to really put the proper context to it. So that would be my proposal, Myra. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, I mean, I see that from the people that are more constantly on the Divine Feminine and the 24-hour block party, I see that most of us are here. On the 24-hour block party, a lot of them, they cannot assist or they're on and off. But I mean, it's up to you guys. It doesn't matter. Either way, I'll agree with you guys. Whatever your decision is, I'll still support it.
But actually, no. But yeah, since you've raised it, I mean, I hear you mention Pachamama soup, but you know, any other names that anyone wants to put out, or Myra, if you've thought of any other names or just want to talk it through, please go for it. I think this is a good time for that.
I basically just want to know what the other members here think about. Like, what is your suggestion if you guys are okay with the Operational Stone Soup, or is it okay if we go on a vote?
Melissa suggests, why don't we all suggest names? Yeah, we could just even type names into the chat. Shall we take a minute and do that?
The other thing I just wanted to mention, Myra, do you know the story about Stone Soup? Because it's actually a children's story that's super sweet. And I don't know if there's context or not. Damon, have you told the story of Stone Soup?
Yeah, I've told it a couple of times. Myra, if you know this, do you know the story, Myra?
Yeah, I did. I have heard about it, and it's definitely a sweet story with no doubt. But because we are going in this project multicultural, I feel like, for instance, in the Hispanic community, once the Operational Stone Soup translates in Spanish, it will be, I can't find exactly the word for stoned, but I don't know.
Sopa de piedra? Sopa de piedra?
Yeah, sopa de piedras. I mean, I feel like there's other names that we can definitely, that they have like a beautiful history in a worldwide level, like Pachamama or Haimsa, Sailesh's daughter. I don't know, I'm just probably just being sarcastic, or maybe selfish, I don't know, but it's just a thoughtful thing.
Yeah, well, here, part of this is cultural, Myra, and here's what I think it is. In Spanish cultures, plural, because they're different cultures that are all have a common Spanish thread, but because the cultures are impacted by the language, in the Spanish language and Spanish cultures, things are taken much more literally, right? So say to someone in English, stone soup, and it's like, oh, I wonder what that's all about. In Spanish, you say sopa de piedras, and one literally imagines a bowl full of rocks, and you're just like, ugh, right? So I think it's partly a cultural thing.
Well, you know what? When I was in high school, also, like with high school, friends, they would say, "Oh, that person it looks so stoned, like he's on drugs or something." Once again, I'm just saying, I don't know. I feel like that name is so intellectual. It's beautiful. It has a beautiful history, but because we are trying, and I know that one of Sailesh's purposes is to make a vegan world by 2026. So why not make this app with the thoughtful that it is going to be worldwide also?
Oh, well, the app for sure. The name of the app is K-Mama. That's totally separate. Operation Stone Soup is a name that I've given kind of as a placeholder, but it's kind of grown on me, and I think a few others as well, for what I call the mega strategy. To start with food, have that co-evolve with collective intelligence, and then apply that to the insanely urgent problem of SRM, solar radiation management, which was actually the thing we launched the block party for originally, to get that going. And then the pandemic took over, and no one's heard from SRM since. That's a big problem. Our window within which we can apply SRM is closing quickly. So we really need, that's why I'm a big proponent of a mega strategy. And whether it's Operation Stone Soup with those three pillars, or a different one, we need a mega strategy to take us all the way through the goalposts.
Yeah, I understand completely.
I would say maybe, you can imagine like a crosswords where the words meet like this, like this, like this. So maybe if same word has a multiple meaning in multiple cultures and languages, we can pick that in a very good sense, in a very expressive, compassionate sense. Maybe we can come up with, pick that word.
Yeah, but I mean, see, Operation Stone Soup, it's not necessarily going to be a word that's going to be used in public, right? Food healers and K-Mama would probably be the ones that everyone's talking about and everyone's using, because those are directly food related, right? Operation Stone Soup is the name of a strategy, right? Which, is way up in the C-level offices, so to speak, right? It's not necessarily something we share out to public. I mean, we wouldn't make a secret of it. All this is being recorded, of course, but I'm just saying it's not necessarily a consumer-facing brand name.
Or else we can come up with within Operation Stone Soup program or project, like several soups to accommodate different communities. Like we can come up with, at the end, the person receives the same, but for us, we are expressing in different names. It's like expressing a rose in different languages. The receiver end, it is still a rose, or maybe it comes with that thing. So we can still call it with multiple names under Operation Stone Soup. But when you're really serving, this community can say this name and give it. This community can say this name and give it. So at least we're all up together with the flavors.
Yeah, I think Operation Stone Soup is just basically the overall strategic name for the plan, or the overall plan. And under that, you have food healers, you have K-Mama, you have Brooklyn Eats. So these are all different named other plans that are being kind of put into action under the overall strategic plan of Operation Stone Soup. It's not a name that it's only a name being used amongst ourselves for the overall strategies that we're trying to form. So food healers is what I was trying to settle on, and K-Mama settled on for the app, and we were thinking of Brooklyn Eats for what we were sorting out, but that's nothing's resolved yet.
Awesome. It's about 7 o'clock here on the West Coast. Time to wrap it up. Wanted to put the question out there as to who would volunteer to host next week's meeting. So are there any volunteers? Jamin. Oh, Shankar. Are you raising your hand, Shankar?
I had, last week we had something about one form, something with the CTYZ, and I just want to know. I was trying to understand that, but I forgot. There was a form, or like FARM, like farming, something about from animal farm to some kind of transition.
Oh, Dr. Rao, were you?
You mean Rowdy Girl, Ranchers Advocacy Program?
It was like a May 30th something. So I was like, it was in the agenda, came in the agenda last week.
Yeah, we have a pre-meeting tomorrow at 2 o'clock Central Time, so 12 o'clock Pacific Time. And then we're going to be talking about whether to meet again on the 30th. We don't know if it's going to happen or not.
Yeah, thank you. That's all.
We'll announce it if we do on Basecamp.
And by the way, just to be clear, I'm not like trying to lobby to be the one to, host the meeting or whatever. I'm just saying I'm here and available for that. And when you do something, for 30 hours a week, week in, week out, you start to get kind of good at it, and it just becomes natural and normal. So I kind of feel like the mom with 7 kids, and you say, hey, can I bring a couple of kids over for a while? I'm just like, no problem. I mean, for me, it's not a burden. I'm going to be here anyway. So anytime you need me to, host or moderate or whatever, I'm totally happy. It's not a burden. It's never a problem. I'm just always here to help. Having said that, I totally defer to you all to, just let me know when you need me. I'm not trying to elbow my way in.
By the way, you're doing a great job, Benjamin. So.
Yeah, totally. And see, that's the thing. When you're not used to doing something like this, you feel very self-conscious. It feels uncomfortable. It can even feel painful, whatever. But you just do it. I used to be so nervous doing public speaking kind of stuff. I used to literally have to lie on my back and like breathe and try to meditate a little bit or something and just chill out. But now it's just like, oh, it's just so easy. So you're doing great. I definitely encourage you to develop your skills, and I'm happy to support in any way. In any way I can. You just call on me. I'm like the London Guard or something, just standing there, just like ready for orders.
It's not that at all. I have plenty of experience being in public situations and performing in front of people. It's that this is not my cup of tea. It's not something that I particularly enjoy doing. So if somebody else enjoyed doing it more than I do, I just want to put it out there. But I appreciate your offer, Jamin. So if it comes down to it, we will default to you.
Standing by all the time, no problem.
Awesome.
And I actually do enjoy it, to tell the truth. So no problemo.
That's perfect. So in terms of agenda for next week, if anyone wants to submit anything on the message board, or if there's anything they want to add here now, we can write it down for next week's agenda. Anyone have anything to add?
Yeah, I would like to propose that VCI consider formally becoming a part of the collective intelligence conversations that we have on the block party, but like literally being represented as VCI, right? Maybe with 2 people or something like that. To consider like formally being an organization that's a part of the, the food related collective intelligence, whether that's called food healers or whatever, or food healers CI or whatever, we don't have a name for it yet, but it's basically the collective intelligence focused on feeding everyone plant-based foods. Anyway, I would just propose that for the agenda. I'm not trying to talk it through right now, but just propose it for the agenda.
Cool. Yeah, we've got it written down. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for all of your time, and we'll be posting this. Actually, I think, Jamin, you'll be posting this on your channel.
Yeah. I'll send you the link so you can share it out wherever. And I'm happy to stop recording whenever you call it. And then people are also welcome to hang out for a few if you feel like afterwards. I'll probably be here just for a few minutes beyond. But you tell me when to stop recording.
Don't forget to join the block party on Friday for all. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff we're all involved in, but in particular the welcoming committee from Vegan Collective Intelligence at 5 o'clock Pacific time, and yeah, we'll be there to welcome you. All right, until next week.
Awesome.
Everyone, I have to have another call. See you. See you all. Bye.